Hello, this is Christian. Welcome to episode 5 of our AJAX application series. Now, this time we're going to go and implement the get call for using AJAX. So let's go and see how our app looks at this point. So far we have, so I went ahead and built this table here to show you what I want. This is my vision for my application. So when I do a get, for example, if I do a get, I put here a, if I leave it blank, then just click go, and I'm going to get the result here, as you can see in this table here, all right? And then let me just refresh this again. So when I get this result, I'm going to hide that form up there. And from this table, then I'm able to edit this record or delete this record individually. And I actually tie this to this button here. So each ID would be associated with a button here. So when you click on it, you're going to pass or get the ID so you can process the information. So when I click on edit, it's going to load this put form and it will pre-populate this fields with the correct data here. Now you can do that from a local variable that you can get from here when you did the get, or you can just fetch it directly from the AJAX as well. And of course, when you show the form, you want to hide this book result. And when you do a delete, it would be kind of similar, right? You put an ID here that you would delete here, or you can delete directly from this table here. Okay, so let's go and build this table and to make it work dynamically. So here in the code, so I added here in my result, right? This is what it should look like when you render. And so we just have to move this over to our script, and then this part here, all these are repeating, right? So I added two functions. I'm going to use these two functions here to prepare the update and also prepare the deletion for each of these records. So here I'm just manually put this in here, but our script will do this for us dynamically. Okay, so that means that I don't need these down here. We just need that single row there, and we'll use a loop to loop through the books, and then we'll build that list. So let's go ahead and move all of these. So build your table the way you want it, and I'm gonna cut that and go to my script, and somewhere in here, when I process the return, so let's add a function down here at the bottom. Maybe I'm gonna build a table. So I put here just a build book table. And the function will be, I don't know, book table. And I'll pass in the book or the data and get that from the result, right? And then here, I'm going to have a string that will hold all these table fields. Put it right in here. And I'm going to break it off right here, because this is where the loop will start, and then it will continue here inside the loop, and at the very end right here it breaks off again, and then here I'm back to my string again. So it'll be str plus equal, and then the backtick. I'm going to grab this back again and then pass that, ends there, right? No, it's confusing, but ends there. And then at the very end I'm going to return the string back. Okay, so we turn the table back basically. So this part here is the one I'm going to do a loop. So somewhere here, and let's try to align this together. Okay, so I'm going to loop through the data here. Now this data is coming from the result set already. So I'm going to say, instead of call it data, I'm going to call it books. It's really a set of books. It could be just one or a lot. It doesn't matter. It should be at least an array. And so right here, I'm going to iterate through the books. I'll use the for each loop. Right in here, books dot for each, and then for each book, and then we're going to process the information here. So here again, I'm just going to add to the string. So let me just collapse this. I'm going to append the string, continue on from this piece, right? So I'm going to say string plus equal, and then the backtick, and this part is going to go right in there. So right in here, right? Let me see if I can format this a little bit nicer. I'm not sure if it let me do it. Nope. Okay, didn't let me do it. All right, so at least it would stay in here. And I'm just gonna do this. It looks a bit nicer. And I will add these variable to the buttons here, so they'll be dynamically added. I wish they can style this, format this. We just do the code. Okay, so this is the ID. That means it's going to be coming from the book.id. And I'll just copy and paste right here. This is the title, the author, publication or publisher, the year. And then here I'm going to have two functions I will create. I'm going to pass in the ID and also the ID field when I click the delete or the prepare update. Okay, so, and you're going to loop that through the entire list of books. It may be empty, it may be 1, maybe 10, or whatever, right? So here is the title, author, year at the bottom, and then the middle here is the publisher. Okay, so that is our table. And then down here we append that to the last table, right? I'm just gonna clean this a little bit. It's too kind of messy here. Okay, and then I return that string back. So a single string of table here. Okay, so that's my book table. So now this is done. Let me put it back to where it was, like a clean. Okay, then when I process the delete, the get, right? I showed the delete form and get delete form, but when I click on this form here, you can see it invokes a button that has ID go get delete. So let me copy that, and right in here after I show the form, I'm going to listen to that form. So using jQuery, this is the button, and I'm going to wait until a click event occurs. When that click event happens, I'm going to call a function. This is the anonymous function. What's inside here is going to be processed. So what does it do? Well, you're going to go and send it off to the server. Okay, so I need to get the ID from that field. So I need to get this ID here. Where is it at? Because I have an ID here. I have an ID down here too, right? This form also has an ID. So how do you know which one is it? Just in case you might have a conflict there. So that's why I have my forms named uniquely. So I'm going to get from the form get delete and then the ID from that form. All right, so that means I'm going to go here and say get the ID from the form called form get delete, and then put a space and then the ID for that particular form, and then get the value. So that's going to give us the ID. This is get ID from form. Okay. Once we got that ID, then we can go ahead and then process the AJAX call. And first we need to here say create AJAX call. Okay. So we are going to instantiate an object, and we'll call it var xhr for XML HTTP request. This is the first, this one here. Instantiate that, or I should say new, sorry. Object, once we got the object, we can go ahead and send it off, open the connection. And the first thing here is it takes 3 parameters. The first is the type, so it's going to be a get type. The second is the URL, which I don't have it yet. And then the third is the asynchronous status. Is true or false? It's a Boolean type. By default, it's going to be true. You want to send data over or retrieve data over the network asynchronously, so you don't have a blocking. You don't block your script. Okay, so by default, it's true. You can put it there explicitly. You can leave it out. It's fine. But the URL we're going to put way on the top here. I put here the API or the URL endpoint, and I'm just going to call it that URL is going to be the localhost, HTTP localhost port 8080, that's the one that we use, and then /API/. Okay, if it's just a slash, then it's going to either delete all or get all, right, depending on the type of request. If it has an ID, then it's going to be a get one, delete one, right, or update. Okay, so we'll leave that blank. Okay, so now make sure that if you are calling or connecting to a server away from the current server you're running from, it has to have the complete either HTTP, HTTPS, or FTP, or like that. You can't just do that, right? If you do that, it won't work. It's got to be the full URL, unless it's a local file, like a PHP file on your same server. All right, so here then, down here, line 15 is the URL, and then plus the ID. So where's the ID coming from? Right here, right? If the ID is empty, then it's just going to be same as this. So we're going to get all. If there's an ID, we're going to get one. So that's that one there. Okay, we open that and then just send it off. We're not sending any data. If you send data, you put the data right in here. But this one here, we're not sending any data. And then we're going to wait for the status. So on ready state change, that is going to call a anonymous function. And this is where everything happens. The magic happens in here. Okay. But before I do that, though, let's put another one down here for any errors. If there's an error, then we're going to call another function. And in here, you can put your error messages. And I'm just going to output that to the result. Okay, if there's an error. So we can say pound result. This is our div tag. HTML. You put here just say error, something like that, so we know it's not working. Could not retrieve or something data. Okay, when we go in here, we need to check the status of two very important properties. One is the ready state of the data. If the data is successfully obtained, then you get the state. Here it means ready. The state here is the fourth and last position, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, when we reach the fourth state, then it's good to go and data is ready to come back. And then we also want to check to make sure the xhr.status of the browse, the data coming back, is it okay to send back or not? And the status should be a 200. That means connection's okay, everything's allowed, and so on. Okay, if those are true, then we got the data back, and the data I'll put here, books. It doesn't know. It could be one or it could be a lot. We don't know, right? So I'll put books here, and it's going to be coming from the XHR response text. Okay, this is the response text. It comes in as a string, so you want to convert it to JSON data, and so you wrap it here with the JSON parse. You parse it. You can parse back and forth, right? So when it comes back to string, so I'm just saying here, convert data to JSON or to JS object, not JSON text, but object. And we got the books information, and then we can go ahead and then process its information. Okay, how do we do that? Well, you can just process right here, but since we're going to do a lot of them for all these different operations, so we're going to have a function called process result, and we pass the books to that result, and it could be processing from the get type, the put, or delete, or whatnot. So we're going to add another parameter here called the method. In this case, I'm just going to put the hardcode word get in here. If it's a put, you put put in here, right? So let's go ahead and process this information and down here. So I'm going to write a function down at the bottom. So we built our books here, and I put down here. So process a result function, process result, and it takes the books and the method or the type of request. Okay, so how do we know which one is it? Well, we can do a switch or an if block. I'll do a switch here. If the method type is a get, if that's the case, then we're going to do the following. We're going to say the result, the HTML. We're going to get the information from the book. Okay, so it's going to get the book table and put it right in here. So book table, and we pass in the book to object to that, and we'll print that out to the browser, and then we're going to break that. There you go. If it's a put, then we'll do something similar. And I'm just going to copy this to put it right here, and we'll modify it. If it's a put, then I'm not going to get the book here. I'm just going to get, I'm not going to build the book. I'm just getting what the books is. I know I call it books here, but really it could be the data that comes back because our server, if you remember in the back end, let's go back and take a look. When we do a send back, like if you do a delete, we just send a message back, right? We do a post, we also send a message back only. So it may not be a book, but just a message. So we just happen to call it books here. You could call it data, but it doesn't matter. Okay, so we're just going to display that to the form, and we'll break that. And I'm going to copy this again, put here for the other two. I'm not sure why it's not formatted. And this is the post, and then finally delete. All right. Let's see. Okay. Let's take a look and see what happens. So I'll process the result, and we'll just have to run and see what it looks like. Okay, I don't know. So let's go take a look and see if that is working the way we want it. So refresh it. Make sure the server is running. Yeah, it's still running. Okay, get all of it. It's not showing. Okay. Why is that? Let me see. Any errors? Console? Yeah. For each is not a function. Okay, so the books. Let's see why. And my loop is not a function. When I get the data back, I change it to an object. I pass that object over already. And then I process it. When I process it, I pass that to the books table as an object, and then I do a loop in, oops, where's that? Books object, books for each. Well, you know what? I don't know what if I do have books or not, but for now I'm gonna just output the book from here, okay, so I can see. So let's say log the books to the console. We can see first if it's really object or not, or if there's anything there. Let's go back and refresh it again, and refresh our page, get all the books, and again error here, but I do get it's an object. Yeah, it is an object of books. Why this is not working? Line 124. I'm missing something there. I think my syntax error. Let's see, for each book. No, that seems okay. Did I do not forget something here? Books. It's an array for each book, and I loop through that. Show here. What's going on here? Let's see why. Well, each. I think that's what it is. Forgot about this camel case stuff. Okay, I hope that's it. I should have told me about that. ID should have caught that, but oh, that's why. All right, so here you go, and okay, there you go. All right, so so far so good, and I realized that my footer is blocking this one here. I couldn't see it. It's just a setting issue with the CSS stuff. So we want to put some padding underneath it so you can see it. Like this table here, for some reason I can't see it. This is not the way I want it. My main container, maybe I want to put some, well, anyway, we'll fix that in a separate video. So when I show the data here, as you can see, it's working. I want to hide this form here. So I want to do a get post, right? I want to hide that. And also when I do the other ones, also want to hide the result as well. So for now, we're just doing the get. So when I get the result, I get that, show that, and then hide it. So far, so good. So let's go back and just fix that really quick. When I show, so this one is good. I'm going to turn that off again. That's good to go. When I process the result, or even before this, right? Way before this. Way up here. When I do this one, when I get the result. So right here, I'm going to hide my form. So I'll put here the AJAX.form. I'm going to hide it. Okay, don't show that. So hide that. You have to be able to show it, hide it again and again. Let's see. When I click no, I want to show that. I'm sorry. You want to show that, and then you want to hide the result. Okay. So you want to show and hide the result. So the same for the other buttons. So here, you want when you click the delete, you want to show the form and then hide the result. Same thing here, just in case, so that we can have to fix it later. Okay, so let's see one more time. Hopefully this works. So we show the form, and it's hidden. I probably did it incorrectly somewhere. When I get the button, I show the form, I hide the result, and then I show the form, I click OK. Down here, when I get the result, and then result set, I process the data. Process the data. It's confusing, as you can see. Over here, I need to show the result. I thought I did. The result needs to be shown. Maybe let's put it here. Hide that form and then show the result. It's very confusing. Okay. Let's see. Show, hide. Okay, good. So when I click, as you can hide, show, hide. So we're good. So if I do just one ID book, you get, it didn't work. For some reason, if I did one, okay, so that didn't work. And we want to figure out why is it for each book it's not a function. When I do a get all, works fine. If I do a get one, two, I get the error. Okay, so that means that it's not an array or something. That's why I get the error. And because that for each loop only works for arrays. Okay, this loop here, this is array only. So if it's not allowing me to do the loop, then that means this is not an array. Why? Because when I get the book back, remember, it could be a book, a single book, or the other one. So if I look at my source code for the backend over here, when I do a get, right, I get all the records. I return the books. The books, as you remember, it's an array, right? It's an array of books. But when I return just a single book, I did not return array. As you can see, I return a single book only as an object. So you want to wrap this as an array. You can do it here, or you can do right here and you return the record. I could do it like this, like that. That's fine. You can do it there, or you can do it right here. Wrap that as an array, like that. Okay. So if I save that, then this is the back end, by the way. Then that should resolve the problem. So let's go back and do all the book is good. If I just get one book, book number 2, there you go. So now the loop works because I'm able to do that. Okay, so that is the get. And last I want to check is just make sure these IDs are properly added. So I have the book 1 for the ID 1, the book 2 for ID 2, and then book 3 for ID 3. So we're good there. All right, so if you have any questions, please let me know.